Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming to listen to my presentation. I just want to say at the outset that I'm feeling very privileged to be here, to be sharing our very, just sharing our special experience in terms of community engagement in a Faculty of Health Sciences. So I'm going to give you a brief outline of the presentation. I think everybody's pretty familiar with the history in terms of the legislation and the different types of laws and policies that have been in place recently that have prompted us to try and solidify engagement. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about DT. I'm going to tell you about how our health sciences faculty looks at engagement. I'm going to speak or just touch on some of the considerations that we have, because we're from the Faculty of Health Sciences, about vulnerable populations and looking at ethics and cultural considerations as well. I'm going to share an example of an engagement that we have and talk about the impact of this engagement in terms of what it meant to the community, what it meant to students, what it meant to the university academics and society at large, and round up with the benefits, opportunities, challenges, and just some final conclusions. This is not a research project like some of the other presentations, but I hope that you will gain something from it anyway. So in the context of engagement, we know about all the policies and the legislation. More specifically, at DUT, we have a strategy known as Envision 2030. And stemming from this, we have an engagement strategy or framework, which is talking mainly about engagement. And within that engagement strategy, one of the main debates for me as an academic is how do you separate the word engagement from community engagement? So, for me, that's been a bit of a tussle because I know it to be community engagement. So, even when I was writing up my talk, I speak about engagement. But when I come here and I listen to all the experts in the field, and I'm not an expert in community engagement at all, I see you talking about it as community engagement. So it is what it is, but I think there's some blurred lines between those two words. So in our university, we have 6 faculties, and there are different levels of engagement across the faculties. But one of the tenets of the DUT engagement framework or strategy is that we should make sure that engagement is embedded in teaching and learning, research and innovation, and entrepreneurial education. Now, if you look at that diagram that I made there, it's quite an off-shaped diagram because it shows you that teaching and learning in university seems to be big. This is my perspective. Research might be slightly smaller. I don't know why I made it so big, but yeah, DUT. And entrepreneurial education is something that is starting to build up in the university. And I'm conflicted because I think that engagement or community engagement should be the big circle into which all these other circles fit. That's how I would say it would be the best way to have it. But I'll just put it like this because this is how I see it as it is now. And engagement doesn't have the same importance across all the faculties in the university, although they are getting a little bit more into it. But I think health sciences has traditionally been one of the faculties that has embraced engagement. And we have different forms of engagement in our Faculty of Health Sciences. We have scholarly engagement where you have engagement that is very much based on credits where students go into communities and they do clinical practice, and that's how they get assessed, and it's part of their qualification. We have other types of research engagements which may be attached to grants. In our faculty, we're very, very strong on school-based career guidance, where we have a community liaison officer who goes to the rural schools to promote our health sciences programs. So that's one of the big aspects of our engagement in our faculty. We also have engagement which links local, international, and local and international stakeholders, and those types of engagements are usually linked to research, or mostly. Okay, so in our Faculty of Health Sciences, we have a research focus area which is entitled Global Health and Sustainability. So I'm sure that you will see that it fits in very well with community engagement. And with our research focus area, it aligns to the Sustainable Development Goals, and I've just listed a few there, but I think it depends on what you're doing and how you do it. It could align to many more of the goals. Okay, so the next aspect I'm going to just touch on is about vulnerable populations. And because we in health sciences, sometimes we have to deal with people who might not be well, or people who are patients. And, the definition of who makes up a vulnerable population is complex, and there's different types of, there's a range of different definitions of this. But I thought this one kind of encapsulated it quite well. And it states that vulnerable populations include patients who are racial or ethnic minorities, children, elderly, socioeconomically disadvantaged, underinsured, or those with certain medical conditions. And members of vulnerable populations often have health conditions that are often as a result of their inadequate health care. So these are the types of populations that we work in. And if anybody wants, they can have a look at this whole list of them, the population in a little bit of more detail, but I think that we'll skip. And more importantly, when we're embarking on any type of work with the community, and not necessarily only research, but I think even engagement, if it's got nothing to do with research, we need to instill this is what we need to consider and instill in our students the tenets of research, which are autonomy, non-maleficence, beneficence, justice. If we're doing any research specifically, it comes with informed consent and anonymity, etc. And also to think about the power imbalance when dealing or working with the community. Something that I find that is very special and also very complex is to look at cultural considerations. And very often we have students who may not be fully aware of how to dress, or staff even, or how to speak, or how to behave when you go to a community. I know in my own context, we had, when we did community work in another life, we had international people who would do things that they thought was acceptable, but they had to be told that some of these things are not acceptable when you go into a community. You can't wear a short dress and walk into the community, or dress inappropriately, or just speak to a chief if you're a lady in a matter-of-fact way, or so you had to train people or make people be mindful. The other thing is the language imbalance, and you need to not only use language that is not understandable, but look at words or phrases that are not considered to be offensive. You need to worry about those things. And also to uphold the ethical code and conduct of respect, empathy, impartiality, and non-maleficence. So these are things that we try to instill in our students to some extent as well when we get in, and our staff as well when we get into any sort of engagement with the community. So this is an example that I'm going to share with you today. So you can see where DUT is at the bottom of the map there. You know, we're located at KwaZulu-Natal, and we have an association with an NGO clinic that is located about 2.5 to 3 hours away from DUT in the North Coast in St. Lucia. I'm not sure if you know where St. Lucia, some of you may know St. Lucia. So this is the NGO clinic, and when we had meetings with them, we realized that they rely on donor funding. They provide healthcare to approximately 36,000 patients, or we saw 36,000 patients in 2023. Not only providing healthcare, and they are a clinic that provides mainly alternative healthcare like homeopathy services to the patients, but they also do upskilling, sewing. They teach the community a little bit on IT as well. The main beneficiaries or the people who come to the clinic are the elderly as well as women and children. And as with most other rural areas, the diseases that they're plagued with obviously are HIV and TB, but a lot of them suffer from acute and chronic conditions such as hypertension, arthritis, diabetes, neurological complaints, and the list goes on. Adjacent to this clinic is an orphanage and a crèche, and they have some clinics in the area, but the problem is that they don't have adequate access to the government clinics. So there's DUT at the bottom there. So what do we have? In our Faculty of Health Sciences, we have 11 programs which provide a whole suite of services. We can look at this opportunity in a sense that we can get our students to go there and work in an alternative space that is different to a traditional classroom. And the space also may help our graduates to become a little bit more developed. And one of the important things that we saw there was the shared responsibility of accountability and improving the lives and livelihoods of the community. So I just want to highlight something on the slide here when I was making it up, because I realized that sometimes people like us who are better or who are not less fortunate, when we go into communities, sometimes there's the notion that we are coming there to benefit the community. But when you weigh up the benefits, I think we as an institution benefit far more from going and interacting with that community, although we think that we're doing a lot for them. Because it's difficult to measure the impact and the amount of learning that happens on our side. So, but nonetheless, I'm just going to tell you what we did. I'm just sharing a wellness day that we had, which was a 5-hour, it was lasted 5 hours. And basically, it was 5 hours. We couldn't afford to go there and stay there because it's like 3 hours away from Durban. So we had to try and find some money to hire a vehicle to accommodate, I think it was about 30 of us that went, staff and students. And we had to do it within the day. So we left at 5 a.m. and we got there like about 9:30 with straps and things. And then by about 10, we started seeing the patients. And then we had to also get back to Durban within the day. So that's why it was a 5-hour duration. So when we got there, the main things that we did was pain relief, and that was from our chiropractic students. They treated 14 patients who had musculoskeletal pain. The nursing students did vital screening amongst, I think, about 100 or more patients, because there were quite a few of them and they were just doing the screening. We had somatology, which did deep tissue massage in 35 patients. Now, this deep tissue massage was not a massage to feel, oh, I just want to feel relaxed. These were people who had arthritic pain and just pain that they couldn't manage, that they were getting these treatments with. And our emergency medical care and rescue and our medical orthotics and prosthetics and nursing and radiography did health promotion while the patients were being treated in the waiting area. So the net impact is that we engaged with around 100 patients, and this is just my estimation of the net impact, right? In 5 hours on one day through our collaborative efforts. So what would be the potential impact if we went there every month or on a much more regular basis? Okay. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the reflections from the students' perspectives. So the students felt that we asked students how did they feel after they engaged with the community, and the students said that it serves as a cornerstone of our education and personal growth, gives you a chance to work with diverse communities. We have instilled in us empathy, social responsibility, and leadership, and it helped them academically and personally in bridging the gap. And it brought theory and practice in better alignment, and it allowed them to make meaningful contributions to the well-being of individuals and communities alike. Okay, this picture here that I have is actually the student who was treating a young child who came to the clinic. And he normally comes to the clinic and he has to wait in the car because they don't have a wheelchair to take him up to be seen. So when he's ready to be seen, they have to carry him in. So this is one of our nursing students who's actually doing some vital screening and just seeing the patient there. And, you know, the sense of the impact and addressing health disparities and students feeling that this gives them a chance to be change agents, something that they felt in their reflection, okay? On a personal level, some students do career guidance in their own communities. It has nothing to do with DUT. They help them to apply by the CAO they help students in grade 11 and 12 to apply for their university. And they also do tutoring. I think I'm going to skip some of the reflections because I have many. In terms of the academic staff that were there, they felt that this helped them in terms of their skills development, enabled. I can see thanks. I will wrap up soon. It gave them the opportunity to promote other skills such as collaboration, cultural competency, communication, and co-leadership. And as you can read, there are lots of things there that we felt happy about. I'm just going to, this one I thought was important because the latter part of this narrative talks about it questions whether the community, what sort of perception the community has in terms of an institution like DUT. Does the community really think that its DUT is providing them with an essential service or not? And you know, how do we meet the alignment with the community's needs and our needs and bridge the gap? In terms of the faculty, I felt that we had a great sense of pride when we went there. We worked with a team, and the students were just generally just out of their depth. They were like in a different zone. You wouldn't say those were the same kids you see raving about the faculty. They showed respect, care, empathy. There was interdepartmental chatter about techniques that radiography was doing and what chiropractic was doing amongst them. And we got a lot done. And while we had logistical challenges, the benefit and the relief that I saw from this process far outweighed the challenges that we had when we were trying to go in. So these are some of the overall benefits in terms of our university, and it helps us to make the activities more student-led. It gives them exposure to the dynamics not found in the classroom. Learning becomes contextualized. There's opportunities for decolonization of the curriculum, multidisciplinary collaboration, interdepartmental and interfaculty, and also research can happen. So some of the challenges that we experience are strengthening institutional support for community engagement. We need to think around not exploiting the relationship with communities. As I said at the beginning, are we going there to do something to benefit them, or are we benefiting from them? And it's the third slide speaks to the same sort of thing. We need to get off our high schools and think that we only doing something that's beneficial. The community is not the only beneficiary, and sustainability is a challenge as well. So this is my conclusion: to be grounded and realistic on goals, to have increased advocacy in the university and room for interfaculty collaboration, sustainability again, and strengthen the mindset that this is not an add-on activity, but it's deeply embedded in all our work with people. So yes, I'd like to acknowledge the community that we worked with. We have really learned a lot from them, and we are grateful for that opportunity. Thank you for listening.